I'm Daryl Munro from Beyond the Numbers, and I just want to share an experience with you that we reinforce as much as we can as we work with leaders. And so the context is we're here in Og Tedi, copper and gold mine in Papua New Guinea, and we've got the privilege of working alongside the leaders as they enhance and grow and develop their leadership skills so they can get better application out there with their teams. And in our workshops, and I'm sure you're familiar with this process, around if you're going to work together, and we do here with the leaders, we always talk about setting some ground rules. How are we going to work together? And that's myself and Scott Richards. We're part of this for the next few days that we're going to be working together with this team. The ground rules apply to us because we want to demonstrate the right leadership behaviour. So once so what we do is we usually develop somewhere between 5 or 6 ground rules, and the things that are meaningful. So we ask people to share what they think are the things that they would value in terms of the right ground rules for this particular opportunity to be together. And so we list up the 5 or 6 ground rules that they've identified, that they say, no, this works for us and aligns with our values here at Og Tedi. Now that's usually where ground rules finish, but we take it a step further, because if you're going to have a set of rules or set expectations, people need to know what is the consequence if we don't actually align ourselves to those ground rules. And so we ask the group to say, well, we need to have some accountability built into this process. So we've identified the ground rules, but then what happens if someone doesn't follow the ground rules? How are we going to manage that as a group? And so we come up with this concept, the consequence. And so in the workshops we've been running, quite often the context has been, the consequence has been to say, okay, if someone comes in late after a break, etc., then they have to apologise to the group, because they've let the group down. And then what we do is, or what they've told us, is that then we want them to identify one of the Og Tedi values, and they have to say which value did they let themselves and the team down based on. So it could be accountability, teamwork, integrity, etc. And that's their way of saying we want to reinforce that. We want to live the values. And so the ground rules set the framework, and the consequences says that we're accountable and we're aligning our behaviour, whether it be good or bad, with how we want the values to be lived. And so that's become the way that we've operated with the leaders here. And the great thing that comes from that is if someone comes in late after a break, etc., and in a way disturbing the team as a result, we can just stand to the side because the team manager, they say, come on, you know the rules, and the person comes up front, apologises to the team, and then they look at the values and they align themselves and say, well, this is the value I've let myself down and I've let the group down. And so it's really great because within a short time, nobody comes in late from this. So let's think about that in terms of what does that mean out there in operations. As leaders, it's incredibly important that we set expectations with our team. And once we do that, we need to get the team to say, well, what are the consequences? And it's not about whacking them with a stick, etc. The consequences are, what if we don't achieve our KPIs for the shift or the month, etc.? What if, as a result of that, somebody is put at risk and they can harm themselves? So we do a lot of that, sort of encourage people to have those conversations. It's no good telling people. We have a firm belief that adults need to, work it out and understand it for themselves, because then they will hold themselves accountable. So I'm just using the example of the ground rules in the workshops and how that works, but take that a step further back out into your operation and with your teams. Look for the opportunity to redefine the actual expectations and the consequences, the impact on the team, impact on the organisation if we don't follow. So I hope this causes you to reflect, and you can transfer some of that thinking back into your team. So we'll look forward to catching up with you next time.